Kirkland's has the cutest fall decor right now, but I have a few tricks to get that same Kirkland's look for way less. So let's get crafting on the first DIY. This set of 3 pumpkins is so cute. I've been into neutral fall decor this season, and these will work perfectly with that. They are $65, but we're going to make them for way less. I love a good artistic challenge, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I like to use foam core. Foam core is a great medium for seasonal decor because it's so cheap, and if you work with it the right way, it's easy to get a high-end look. So let's get started on these pumpkins, and I'll show you a few tips as we go along. I'm going to use this sign that I found at Dollar Tree as a template to trace, but you could use a different pumpkin sign. Pumpkins are actually pretty easy to draw, so you could also freehand this. Always start with a new X-Acto blade when working with foam core, and if you're not sure if the slice went through all the way, cut twice while you still have everything lined up. You can always clean up any edges though if they look rough. I cut 2 of these pumpkin shapes and will be using one to create a 3-dimensional section for the pumpkin. For this one, I cut out a center segment and I glued it in the middle. If you're new here, please consider subscribing if you like creative inspiration for your home. The community here on Artsy Cupcake is so uplifting and creative, so we would love to have you join for new videos every week. Just hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell, that way you'll see my videos on your YouTube feed. Today I'm joining in the Look for Less challenge, which is hosted by Yami from the Latina Next Door. There will be a playlist which I'll link below so you can check out more Look for Less ideas. I want each of these pumpkins a slightly different shape like our inspiration piece. So for the next one, I'm making it a little bit taller. And I think instead of a 3-dimensional center segment, I will make 2 on the sides just so each of the pumpkins is unique. Now, if your edges came out ragged looking, you can always hide that by either filling in with hot glue and then quickly smoothing it out, or by using a little masking tape on the side and wrapping it around the back. I'm going to use some chalk paint on these because it tends to dry fast and you can get a lot of coverage without too much paint. When you're painting on foam core, you want to avoid saturating it with liquid paint because that's when it will start to bow and it could peel up on the edges. So I'm being really careful here to use as little paint as possible. I did a few light coats going in the direction of the curves of a pumpkin. I want a bit of distressing like the one at Kirkland's, so I'm just going along until I get the look that I want. Next, for the stems, I'm mixing up a brown color. Don't worry too much about where the stem connects to the rest of the pumpkin because we'll be covering that up with a buffalo check bow. To add a little more dimension, I'm going over 1 shade darker along the edges and I'm blending that in to give it a 3-dimensional look. To make an easel back stand for these, you could either pick these up that just stick to the back, or you could make your own out of foam core. Start by cutting a triangle about half as tall as your sign. If you want your pumpkins to sit perfectly straight up, then 90-degree angles on the triangle is fine. But if you want them to sit back a little bit, then set up your pumpkin at the angle you want. Check to see how much empty space is behind the pumpkin, and then trim that off of the triangle. So I took off about 1/4 inch of mine, and now the pumpkins will be just tilted that much. All that's left to do is attach the gingham bows. Here were the supplies we had to pick up. I'm not going to count things you already have in your craft closet, like paint or paintbrushes, but these were the main supplies that we picked up from Dollar Tree. And here is mine compared to the Kirklands one. I think they look pretty similar, but let me know in the comments section what you think. This pumpkin patch sign is so sweet with the customized names at the bottom, and I love that gorgeous wood frame. But how can we make this for less than $130? Well, with more Dollar Tree finds, of course. I found this canvas at Dollar Tree. I discovered on another project that these larger canvases have a nice wood frame underneath. I'm being careful to save the canvas so I can use it on a future project. Now I'm a full-time graphic designer, so it was no big thing to recreate this sign. I was able to customize it on my computer, and I put my own little spin on it so that it wasn't identical to the Kirklands one. I'll get a blog post up soon so that you can download the template. I'll leave the names off at the bottom, and then you can write in your own with cursive, or you could use a rub-on transfer from Dollar Tree to add your names. I used a little spray mount to attach this to the foam core. That line on the left is not supposed to be there, but I was able to cover it with the frame. I trimmed this to be just a little bit larger than the open area of the frame. The foam core backing will make this sign sturdy, and it'll lay nice and flat. Since my printer only goes up to letter-sized paper, I have a little edge to cover, and I'm using some ribbon that I got at Dollar Tree to blend the edges together. Now, to paint the frame to match the Kirklands one, I'm going to start with a grayish color, and after this dries, I will dry brush some black on, and I'm going with long strokes of paint to make it look like wood grain. I went back and forth with the black and the grayish until I was happy with the look. All that's left to do is glue the frame and the sign together. Since this frame is wood, you can easily screw in a picture frame hanger on the back. Here were the supplies we had to pick up for this project. And here is the comparison. I think they came out looking so similar, especially that texture and color on the frame. I've been wanting to make something like these for a while. I think they are so festive and fun with the pumpkin base and the fall florals. I'm just going to make one of these today. So let's say the price is $32 for one instead of $64 for the set of two. You can find felt in all different colors at Dollar Tree. I have this white felt here and I cut out a long rectangle and then folded it in half. I'm no pro at sewing, so I just quickly and roughly sewed one of the shorter edges and then I'm pulling it together. This will be the bottom of our pumpkin. Then I stitched up the long side. I didn't go all the way up because I decided I wanted it a little bit shorter than I had cut the fabric. Next, you can flip it inside out and place a cube of floral foam in the middle. The square will create a base for the bottom of this so it won't topple over. I had some old pillow stuffing and used a little of that around the sides. That'll help make it look puffy. Instead of going straight into the twine, I would suggest you do what we did on the bottom and loosely stitch it and then pull it together. Not as tight as the bottom, but I think if you pulled it just a little bit and left the styrofoam showing, it would have helped everything stay in place a little better. I wrapped the twine around and tied it on the top. Don't worry about how it looks on the top because that twine will actually be helping to hold our flower stems in place. And the florals will completely cover the top. I have some Sola wood flowers and I took some bamboo skewers and poked them into the flowers so they would stick right into the foam. You could use some flowers from Dollar Tree and instead of poking the skewers into the back, which wouldn't work very well, just use a dot of hot glue to connect the flower to the skewer. I had a few foam pumpkins left over from another project, so I included those as well. I was trying to figure out how to add a touch of green and ended up going with these tiny white berries off of some eucalyptus leaves because they add the touch of color, but they aren't so much that they take away from the rest of the arrangement. Sometimes it's those little subtle details that make the difference. So here were the supplies that we picked up at Dollar Tree. I loved that we could customize this with the florals just the way we wanted, and we saved so much money. I had fun making these Kirkland's dupes, and I hope that you got some fall decor ideas from this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more home decor ideas every week, and check out that playlist filled with dupes so you can get more inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a creative day. Bye!